Let's talk about the Bears and the Saints. The Saints are 10-point favorites now. 10.5 at PointsBet. It has set at a 47.5 total, has stayed pretty steady here for the last little bit. But this is a pretty interesting game here from a standpoint that the Saints are finally going to be, it looks like, fully healthy. So Michael Thomas, Deontay Harris, both designated to return from the injured reserve, Brett. They also got back the 3 running backs, not Alvin Kamara yet, but the other 3 running backs that were put on the COVID list last week because of Alvin Kamara's positive test. The belief is that Alvin Kamara will be a go on Sunday. He will be eligible to come off of the COVID list on Sunday so long as he doesn't have another positive test. He has not had one so far. I just read an article where they were talking about they have set up, he is virtually practicing with the team. So they have Sean Payton mic'd up, and he is walking Alvin Kamara through the practice virtually. So it's although he can't be out there, he is virtually practicing with the team. So it seems as if there'll be a full strength Saints team going up against this Bears team that kind of came back down to earth last week after after a couple of weeks of looking like they could actually play. Brett, we're looking at a double-digit spread in a playoff game, but again, we might see the Saints at full strength for the first time in quite a while.
Yeah, it still feels like a bloated number to me when you break down this Saints offense. I mean, typically, if I want to be laying a huge number, I want to be backing an offense like KC or Buffalo that can hit you quickly with a deep ball or just be able to run up the score on someone. That's not how this New Orleans offense operates. You know, we've talked about this a lot this season. They're efficient, but there's nothing explosive about this unit. They're 19th in explosive passes, and they don't even throw the football that often either, even with Drew Brees under center. So, yeah, I mean, it feels high. That said, the Bears, towards the end of the season, they beat up on some really bad teams, and they did it with the run game. That's just not a thing you can rely on against this New Orleans defense. And the nice thing about playing the Bears when you have an elite defense is that Trubisky is turnover happy and can provide you with a lot of donations in the form of positive field position and even some defensive scores. And surely that's got to be factored in here a little bit, but that's not predictive enough for me to get behind laying double digits on a run-heavy Saints offense. I don't know. This is one of those big spread games that I typically stay away from, and I can't really see myself getting involved with the spread here. But it does, and this keeps climbing, and if it keeps climbing more, I might have to get involved with the Bears.
So, Brad, what we saw last week, the Bears they play the Packers. They only score 16 points. The Packers able to throw all over this Bears secondary. Aaron Rodgers able to do whatever he wants to do against this team. And as Brett mentioned, they've been trying to ride David Montgomery a ton. He gets 22 carries last week, even though they only went for 69 yards against this Packers team. So even in a very bad, even playing from behind, they still rode, David Montgomery in this game. That's what they try to want to do. But I mean, this Saints defense is just, right up there against the teams that are going to be very, very tough to run against. Number 2 overall rush defense, DVOA, number 2 overall rush defense, according to Pro Football Focus. And so now you're going to have to rely on Mitch Trubisky to go and get it done. And I just don't, look, yes, he had a couple of decent games, and I'm not saying that he is as terrible as everybody thinks he is, but Mitch Trubisky is not a good quarterback, and is not, certainly is not a guy that's been able to string together several good games in a row. What we saw also, Jair Alexander. Yes, Jair Alexander, one of the very best corners in all the league, but Jair Alexander matches up on Allen Robinson, takes him out of the game, and then this offense can't do anything, at all. And so I'm pretty sure Sean Payton's pretty keen on that, and they're just going to remove Allen Robinson from the game and say, okay, if you're going to beat us with Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet, then by all means, beat us with Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet, but Allen Robinson's not going to be that guy. But as Brett mentioned, double digits is double digits, and it is a playoff game.
Don't you besmirch Darnell Mooney? He's a hell of a player. So yeah, I'm kind of with you that Mitch Trubisky is who we think Mitch Trubisky is. You know, he had his hot run against the Jags and the Lions and the Texans, like, you know, the absolute worst defenses in the NFL. Then he played like a middling defense last week, and he started to turn back into who we thought he was. 16 points. I think they converted four fourth downs just to even get to that number. And now they're playing a top 5 defense, and I think he's going to continue to backslide. Essentially, there's going to be pressure in his face. This is one of the best D lines, and then they've got, as you say, they've got the defensive personnel in the secondary. They can put Lattimore on Allen Robinson, and then they can double Darnell Mooney if they want to. You know, so I really don't see the Bears moving the ball that effectively. And then the Saints' offense, I would say it's going to look as good as it has all year long. You know, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, this is going to be one of the first times they've been truly healthy. And I still think it is elite, it's especially in terms of success rate. They're not that explosive, but they pick up 6 yards a play, especially in that dome. So, you know, again, the strength of the Bears is the defensive line. Well, the Saints have got one of the best offensive lines in the league, so that they take them out of play. And I just think they can move the ball with ease, really. So at 10.5, I'm probably not keen on it. If it goes back down to 9.5, which it may do, then it would be a bet for me at that price.
Yeah, under 10, I think I like the Saints here. I look at the blueprint of this game from last week that the Packers used, and I think that the Saints can do the majority of that against this Bears team, and maybe even a little bit better, considering they have a better defense than the Packers do. And so as far as none of the player props are listed right now, obviously with all the question marks that are around the Saints offense, I would say, however, if when they open the receiving total for Alvin Kamara, what would be your number, Brett, that you would think would be proper for Alvin Kamara? Because I feel like maybe because he has been out for a week and a half that they might open this number shorter than where it needs to be.
Well, Roquan Smith is out, right? He's not going to play. If he's out, then you can't set a number high enough, honestly. Like they'll just be able to dump it off to Kamara the entire game. Yeah,
like if they set this at 39.5 or 40, whatever, 42.5, 43, like something like that, if it's high 30s, low 40s, I'm going to. I think I'm going to just smash the over button like as many times as they let me before they say you can't play the over anymore, because like you said, I mean, it's
Smith
just
is out.
He's Kamara. Like I think I think this number might come out a little bit shy because of him missing a week and a half and not being able to practice and all the the question marks around him. And it doesn't take him being at practice to understand how to take a dump off, right? I mean, like that doesn't, like all the routes that he runs isn't something that him and Drew Brees need to practice over and over again. They've done it a million times already as it is. So we know that Drew Brees loves to throw the ball to Alvin Kamara as well, loves to get him involved. So that would be a prop I'd look at, but again, not listed anywhere right now because again, Alvin Kamara hasn't officially come off the COVID list. So something to look at there. Any thoughts on the total at all, guys? 47.5 before we move on?
I love the under.
Oh, all right then.
It's one of my favorite plays of the week. I mean, look, both these teams want to run the football. They both operate at a slow pace. Neither of these teams are going to hit you with a long touchdown consistently. I mean, look, the explosive play numbers for these offenses are pitiful. The Bears are 29th in explosive passes, 24th in explosive runs. Saints 19th in explosive passes and 13th in explosive runs, and all they do is run. So I think this is high. I think this is a couple points high at 47.5. So I love the under.
There we go. So now we do have a play on the total as well. Good. I'm glad we were able to put a nice little bow on the Bears and the Saints.